You are listening to the Enormocast.
Consider the belayer. Steadfast and sure-footed, the belayer is a breed apart. Often taken for granted, the belayer literally saves your life every single time you punt. And let's face it, that's a lot of disasters averted. Loyal and smart, whether it's the first time you've said take or the 100th, the belayer sits back and holds you right where you want to be while you brush that hold one more time, even though both you and your trusty belayer know it ain't going to change a goddamn thing. The belayer just smiles and says, "Dude, you totally got it next time." Even though there's no way on God's green earth you will in fact get it next time. So maybe it's time to honor the unsung hero of your journey with a fine gift from Peter W. Gilroy. Peter, a belayer himself, knows what a trinket or a sweet splitter hat, the ones with the mountain-inspired titanium badges, will do for a worn-out belayer spirit when you've been riding them hard. Artful jewelry and accessories can be found at peterwgilroy.com for your belayer or any partner you've been forgetting to appreciate during that singular haze of the next burn. So consider your belayer and peterwgilroy.com. One day you might look down and they'll be gone, eating that sandwich they've been thinking about since you took on the second bolt an hour ago. And don't forget to enter Enormo at checkout for a discount and to help this darn podcast.
We gotta get
Listen, where you playing in town? You playing here?
We're doing the Enormo Dome, whatever it is. It's terrific.
Oh,
It's
yeah, the
big
big
house. We
place
sold
that
it out.
side of town. That's a
Very
big
nice.
place. You sold it out.
20,000
seats.
We really should.
Look, you better get up there before you panic. Those pens are loose. You're very good. I have really enjoyed playing with you. I don't think so. But we shall continue with style. Good weather, bad weather. Now or later, anytime. Good time.
Today's show is brought to you by La Sportiva
Arc'teryx Equipment.
and with support from Maxim Ropes. Maxim has been keeping the Enormocast off the deck since 2012.
And don't forget our charter sponsor, Bonfire Coffee. Go to bonfirecoffee.com and enter Enormo at checkout for a discount on great coffee and to support the Enormocast.
And now back to the show.
Hello and welcome to the Enormocast. This is your host, Chris Kalous. It is September 7th, 2023, about 10:30 a.m., and this is episode... It's not an episode. It's a tweener. What's a tweener? Well, it's content that turns up between the full episodes. Extra stuff. Inspired by something I once heard Gene Kistler of New River Gorge fame call those squeeze job roots. Tweeners. Between the roots you really want to climb. So this tweener is the outtakes, the extras from episode 269 with Tyler Karow. I felt like the original episode had a good ending spot. It was almost 2 hours. So I left this stuff off. But then I realized it's a lot of fun. It gets a little shaggy. I was a little buzzed. There was some equipment failures. But there's still some good, funny stuff and a couple great stories from Tyler. So if you enjoyed the interview with Tyler from episode 269, the last episode, then I think you'll dig this. And if you didn't listen to that one, maybe go back and do that first. And I'd like to point out here that, of course, all the content at the Enormocast is open and free. A lot of podcasts, I dare say most these days, would put something like this as bonus content behind a paywall. We do that at the Run Out. But here at the Enormocast, we're supported by our sponsors, Black Diamond, Sportiva, Yeti, the little guys like Peter W. Gilroy, Belay Specs, Bonfire Coffee, all paying for advertising so that the content remains free for you. So please, consider using your purchasing power with those companies. They all make great gear. They make stuff that's cool, long-lasting. Well, not the coffee. That just goes right out your butt, but that's kind of what it's for, isn't it? And the folks that have donated over the years have helped out for sure, but this podcast would not exist without the advertisers. So support them, please. You need gear, they make gear. Great gear. And coffee. And jewelry. But great stuff. Capiche? All right, let's get to the outtakes from Tyler Karow. These are Shaggy. This is Shaggy. It's kind of old school Enormocast in a lot of ways. And there's a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff in here, too. What happens when the mics fail and the police show up. All right, check it out. A Tweener with Tyler Karow. All right, we're in the like fragmented zone. I already have that ending. It's amazing. So
your audio just disappeared again. What the hell?
Hello, I'd like the Department of Missing Babies.
Please hold.
Can you hear me?
We're back. Yeah, I can hear you.
Dude, there's this like bottle cap, and I keep messing with it, and it's right next to my
I keep messing with the bottle cap too.
Okay. But what just happened while I was resetting it? A cop just opened the door.
A cop?
Yeah, well, so I'm here at my wife's office, and he's like, "Hey, I'm just patrolling, and I'm just checking for open doors," and it just opened up, and he was like, this cop
God.
in like full fucking guns and all that shit.
I'm so sorry you had to deal with that.
No, it's fine. He was like, "Oh, it's
terrible.
cool." He's like, "I'm just checking for open doors." I'm like, "I'm just talking to some buddies," and I got all these, like all these beers.
Just drinking beers by yourself in front of a computer.
Yeah, totally. I was like, "Hey, I'm just talking to some friends on Zoom." He was like, "That's cool."
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, what was I asking you?
I think we were going to. You mentioned something about Jordan.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask you about. You guys went to Jordan and climbed.
Yeah, that was like my first big, I guess, international trip. Really, I don't know. I think I watched like the Real Rock movie with Madeline Sorkin and like a few other videos and was like, this looks freaking rad. This is like super cool. And I went out there with my buddy Chris, and yeah, we did like we actually planned a 2 or 3 month trip out to like the Middle East, and then a little bit in Europe and a little bit in North Africa, and it ended up getting cut short due to COVID. We got kicked out of Spain. We were climbing in Chulia, and yeah, we never made it to Tagia. We were planning to go to the Atlas Mountains and climb there, but that's still very high on the to-do list. But yeah, the first place we climbed was Jordan, which was sick. I mean, that place was really freaking cool. We stayed with this Bedouin dude named Mohammed Hussein, and like culturally, one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had, just living in that world and seeing how those people live, and seeing how like kind they were. And it was amazing. Like every night we'd have these like really interesting religious and political conversations with like the different people who would have dinner with us or feed us. And the climbing was amazing. Like definitely a little bit chossy and sandy in certain places, but I think we climbed like all the classic trad lines. There's a bunch of like good bolted routes, but we didn't even touch those at that point in climbing. We were like, let's just climb all the adventure trad stuff. Like
cool.
Like screw the hard 5.
I mean, that's its early history in climbing.
Yeah,
is that British guys doing gnarly like trad routes.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, it was incredible. Like we spent a couple nights like camped out in this canyon called Barra Canyon, and like what I think the highlight experience was, we were coming down from some route, and there was a shepherd waiting at the base, and he's like didn't speak any English, and he's just kind of talking to us in Arabic, and we were like couldn't communicate. And luckily some tour guide, some dude who was a Bedouin who spoke English, like came over like not too later. He was taking some people on a tour, and he's like, hey, the shepherd, like one of their sheep, or I forget if it was a sheep or a goat, decided to like go up some cliff, and they're wondering if you could rescue it. And so we ended up climbing this crack system to get the sheep or goat or whatever off this cliff. It was like pretty gnarly. It was like 40 feet up this wall. It was for sure 5th class. And we like built an anchor, grabbed the sheep, like brought it back to the shepherd. And then the funniest part of the story is that a few months ago, my buddy Chris was like, dude, like, check it out. On Mountain Project, someone put up the route, like that, the crack that we had climbed to rescue this goat is now a route on Mountain Project. And they like, and like the dude, like some guy like was like first ascent 2022 or something like that. And I wrote some comment. I was like, no. Like the first half of this route has to be credited to the goat for sure. Like the goat climbed at least one half of the route. But yeah, that was a sick experience. And we actually bought tickets in and out of Tel Aviv, and we ended up doing some climbing in Palestine, which was like also just like culturally an insane experience. We met this Israeli climber, and he took us into this Israeli settlement and outside of Jerusalem, and then we like crossed the border into Palestine, and like, you know, there were like met some Bedouin shepherds who were like grazing animals in this land that's like you know, essentially occupied, that is occupied and like lived in by Palestinians. And just like, it was like culturally so cool and so wild. And like the perspective I got from being there was like, yeah, that kind of got me addicted to traveling internationally. I was like, whoa, this is super cool. And you meet so many interesting people, and, you know, you read all about this stuff in geopolitics in the news, and like the best way to go figure it out is like just to go there yourself and like talk to all these different people and who have these different perspectives. And yeah, it was a really, really cool trip.
Have you seen Resistance Climbing? The Real Rock
I actually haven't seen any of the Real Rock films. I'm like super cheap, so I haven't like, you get to like pay for Real Rock now or whatever. I gotta watch it.
You got to see Resistance Climbing if you've been to Palestine.
I mean, it looks amazing. Like I know I just haven't. I should just watch it like tomorrow.
And Office Space.
Okay, yeah, Office Space and Resistance.
You got to see
Climbing.
Office Space, and you have to see Resistance Climbing. No, Resistance Climbing might really kind of like change that experience for you a little bit. It's pretty wild.
I've heard really good things about it. Yeah. Did Andrew make that film?
He didn't make it. He's in it.
He's in it.
I mean, he did to a certain extent, but you know, it's still the Real Rock guys. He was going, and then they were like, why don't we do a movie about it? And he's like, well, you sure you want to get into this? And then hooked up with that guy, Tim Bruns, who was developing climbing in Ramallah and started a climbing gym down there. Gotcha. And he's a very he's an American guy from, I think he's from Maine actually, but he went to Colorado College here in Colorado. But,
right on.
Yeah, he started a climbing gym in Ramallah and like bolted all these routes, and he's very opinionated and very on the side of the Palestinians against the incursion of the settlements and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for good reason.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like such a sick experience. And we climbed like in Jerusalem too, like outside of the city. It was just like, I don't know. I think history is super fascinating, and geopolitics is like super fascinating. And yeah, I'd really like to go back. I mean, the limestone in Palestine is great, and I'd like to go back there and climb it and meet some more of those people. They're really, really down to earth and cool.
Yeah, I climbed in Jordan as well. Climbed in Wadi Rum. Yeah. So
how long ago?
It was probably 2007 or 8. And we put a route up on Nasrani North, which over by where La Guerre is.
I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, and there was a route, a trad route there called Muazzin that we actually crossed. So it's on the right side of that kind of bowl where La Guerre is and that stuff. The Raqabat Canyon is that canyon that connects the village to that side. Yeah, it's just kind of out on the outside of that.
Yeah,
we would use that to get back and forth to the village. Yeah.
Interesting. We actually went to like Nazarani to go check out what is it, the 512A thing, like
La Guerre Sainte.
La Guerre Sainte,
yeah, that's the Arnaud Petit route.
Yeah, that dude's done a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah,
he was actually out there when we were there.
Oh, really?
It was kind of wild. He was putting up a route with like a team of 20, or like it felt like 20 people. It was on Jabal Rum, but yeah, I would like to go out there again. I think it'd be like a good place to you know, like there's like I'd go out there, I think, with quick draws next time and just like climb all the sport routes, maybe do a little bit of cam placing, but not too much.
Yeah. We actually made a DVD out of it. It was like a film project, basically.
No way. Is that on the internet?
I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. I should send you a copy of it.
Dude, please, I would be stoked to watch that. Like genuinely. Yeah.
If I sent you one, you might have to send it back because I don't even know if I have the technology anymore to copy a DVD. Right.
I actually, now that you mention it, I don't think I
couldn't watch one either.
I can't watch a DVD.
Exactly. So let's just leave it in the past. But yeah, we made a film, like a proper climbing film. Me and Heidi Wirtz, which you may know.
Oh yeah, I've hung out with Heidi a couple times. She's super freaking cool.
Yeah, really like Heidi's an old friend of mine for sure.
Okay, right on. Yeah, I think we ran into each other. We met doing the what's that traverse in Joshua Tree? The boulder that like
Gunsmoke.
Like some Gunsmoke. Yeah, we met doing Gunsmoke. We were just cool. Laughing it together and ended up hanging out and bouldering a little bit. Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, and then this guy Ben Firth, who was a Canadian climber and really good Canadian climber, mixed ice climber, also good rock climber. Yeah, and then this guy Aaron Black, who was a photographer out of Vancouver. That also I don't really see much more on climbing, but yeah, we did the whole thing. We went to Petra and the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, you gotta go to Petra.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we bolted this sick route. It's 13A. It's been repeated by actually Honnold did it with an Israeli climber, and I think that's probably it. And then, I think it's gone or disappeared because the only record of it was in the guidebooks that were in the old guest house there, the Egyptian guest house.
Yeah,
and apparently they're gone.
Oh, really? They were there when I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
2000 January 2020.
All right, maybe they are there because someone told me that they were gone, but Jenny Fisher told me that.
Okay, I actually met Jenny Fisher in Wadi Rum that same trip, and they were definitely there. I've never actually met her again. I met her and Zizi or whatever, her boyfriend. Yeah, dude, I really like that dude. He was cool.
Yeah, no, they're super cool. I like Jenny too. You know, I wanted to say that, and I wanted to say this earlier because you've talked about Stoke or Psych or whatever you want to call it. But, you know, my long lost pal, Hayden Kennedy, that was one of his not original, but often used phrases that you can't put a price on morale.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like morale, that's what it's all about. Like I credit Psych for motivating me to climb all the things I've climbed. It's all about Psych. And if you stay psyched, you're going to be able to do the things you want to do.
Let me ask you a little bit about the video thing.
We honestly should touch on this a little bit.
Yeah, because you create the kind of content and enough of it. You know, we were talking about being a sponsored climber or not being a sponsored climber. Like you have a very sponsored climber level of producing content. And I read some comment on one of your videos that was like, "Honey, wake up. You know, Tyler's dropped another video." Like people are stoked on it and you've got this huge following. So where does that part of it come from? Because a lot of people who are like you and they haven't chosen to be sponsored, one of the reasons they've chosen is because they don't want to bother with that shit. But it seems like it's something in addition to the climbing that you actually obviously enjoy, is creating this video content because you take it, which, you know, to me, I have a hard time pulling the camera out at all. Back in the day, it was still photography, but it was the same thing. Like, let's not fuck with that. We're climbing. Like, it's going to mess with it. Yeah. And actually, Hayden was like that too. But, you know, you seem to have this like enjoyment of that goes along with the climbing as opposed to it something that necessarily takes away from the climbing.
I mean, I started making videos, I think when I was a freshman in high school, when I first got a GoPro.
Of what?
Of like skiing. And like
skiing,
me hanging out with my friends and like doing backflips off cliffs or whatever. And
sure,
they were all on YouTube. And a past girlfriend's like, "You got to remove these, dude. Like these are really bad." And so they've since been removed, but at least made
erased
private.
Your past.
Yeah, a little bit. There's still some
down
old,
the memory hole.
There's for sure some old embarrassing ones from high school still up there, but yeah, I don't know. I got into making videos because I thought it was kind of fun and enjoyed it, mostly skiing and whatever I was doing. And I'd put out these ski videos and they'd get like a dozen views, like it was solely for me and my friends. And I was like, cool, I enjoy the process. I'm not good at editing. It was essentially just a compilation of different clips that I would take while I was on the ski or the climb or whatever. And yeah, when I started climbing, I think the first video I made was Snake Dike, and I put it out there and it got like a dozen views or, maybe 100 views or something like that. And I didn't I wasn't putting videos out there to get viewership whatsoever. It was solely for me and my friends and because I enjoyed it.
It sounds like my podcast. But.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, then it just blew up. Like there were a couple ski videos. I skied a couple lines in the Sierras that were like, I guess, relatively serious, and those got some views. And that was like, I was like, cool, I skied this like serious line and people seem to enjoy that. And that was like, the end of it. I think there was one that got like a few thousand views or like, 5,000 views or something like that on one of them. And then, I just started making more climbing videos more because I enjoyed it. And it's like, it's like the editing process is super fun and quick. I don't actually edit anything. I literally just put the clips on my computer, throw them all into, like choose the ones I want, compile them together. I don't color correct. I don't audio correct. I don't I've added text here and there, but it's like pretty straightforward and doesn't take too much time. And yeah, they got popular. And I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, like right when at the start of COVID, when they got pretty popular, I was kind of like, oh, this is weird. People are like coming up to me at the crag and being like, are you that YouTube dude? And I hate it. Like I hate when people like, if anyone's listening to this, please do not refer to me as the YouTube guy. It's like, yeah, I don't like that at all, but it's, it became a thing. And then I had this like crossroad that I came to where I was like, okay, do I want to double down and like make money on this? Cause you get to the point you make a little bit of cash from YouTube. And I'm like, do I want to make money out of this, or do I want to stop this entirely, or like, where do I want to go? And I kind of just decided to treat it like a little bit on a middle ground where I didn't really put any more effort than I wanted to, or like had been doing already, but continued to make videos for adventures that I was particularly psyched on. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like when I go climbing, 9 times out of 10, I don't bring a camera. But then when I do something that I'm like really interested in or like excited about, or if I have a partner who wants to bring the camera along, like sometimes I'll bring the camera along. Like there's a couple times when like partners have been like, yo, like you should film this and we should put it on YouTube. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. But most of the time I don't. Now I kind of just reserve it for bigger trips. Cause yeah, I have similar I have the same concerns that Hayden and you have. It definitely makes you not live in the moment to an extent, and there's nothing worse than like your friend says something hilarious and you're like, yo, like, can you say that again for the camera? Like right. that sucks, but you got to do it sometimes. And yeah, I don't know. The video thing, it's been fun. Like I genuinely enjoy making the videos, and it's been fun to see that they've been well received. And I think I've heard a lot of people get sandbagged by them, and that makes me kind of internally happy. Like, I don't know, it's kind of funny every time I hear like, oh dude, I like saw you.
What do you mean?
Well, like there's a ton of people who've reached out and been like, oh, like I was trying the Grand Traverse and I watched your video and it looked kind of chill, and so then I tried it and like totally epic. There's a lot of that.
See, that's what I was getting at in the beginning. That's what I saw too. I'm like, that guy looks like completely composed, having a great time. He's been on the wall for 10 days. He doesn't really even have a beard. What's going on with this dude? He's like got it on lock.
Yeah, the beard thing, I just don't grow that much facial hair, but the on lock thing, I don't know, man.
Because then you look, then the camera swings it around to like Sean Villanueva, and he looks like he's basically crawled out of a cave like 2,000 years ago, and you're like, oh, that guy looks like he's been on the wall for a little while or whatever.
That dude can grow a beard. Can confirm.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. I guess it's just like, I don't know. I figured out the big wall thing to a degree, right. And like I feel so comfortable up there. Like I think I can climb harder 2,000 feet off the deck than I can off the ground. Like I know that for a fact. Like I feel more comfortable up on a big wall, and like I don't know. It's like a second home to me. Like I love being up there.
I had those feelings back in the day, and that was what was so surprising about Golden Gate.
Did it fade?
Like, I don't feel like this anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure that day will come. You know, like we're talking about the evolution of like bailing and the evolution of like, you know, mortality, and I think that's like the next one for me. I'll come to the conclusion that maybe 2,000 feet up the wall is not the place where I should perform at my highest, and I should go to the crag and project a route for the first time at some point.
All right, that could be another ending. You got any more time?
Yeah, dude. I'm not even done with my beer. We can keep going.
All right, let me ask you one more serious question. What time is it here? Oh fuck, it's almost 10. That's late for a dad. But this is really I'm having a great time. Dude.
Yeah, dude, me too.
This is really, really fun.
Like also low key. I don't know if you're gonna put this on. This might be weird, but I listened to your podcast multiple times, like 2 or 3 a week for like a year. Like I've listened to almost every one of them. Like, man, you genuinely, like, you inspired the shit out of me. Like
nice.
Like that's like, also like I feel like I learned I
literally from my like office chair.
Yeah, but actually, like, I feel like I learned like the history of climbing. I really love climbing history, and I feel like I learned so much history through the podcast, and that was like a pretty, you know, meaningful component of my climbing upbringing.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, I you know, it's my life's work.
You should be proud.
Like, it honestly is. It's like, you know, looking back on it now, it started as this weird hobby, and you know, we're joking about like, yeah, you put it out for your friends or whatever. And like, now it's like my life's work. As far as climbing is concerned, it's the most important thing I've ever done. I mean, I had a few ascents that got like barely a notice, maybe a tiny, you know, you probably don't know about this, but hot flashes. Maybe you look through old climbing magazines.
Hot flashes.
No?
I'm not familiar.
Oh my God. You don't know about hot flashes?
No. What's that?
Dude, like literally like, in the 90s, Climbing Magazine, there was so little happening that Climbing Magazine had a relatively up-to-date 2 or 3 pages of like all the important climbs that happened in the previous month. It was called Hot Flashes.
So you got on the hot flashes.
Yeah, I was on the hot flashes a couple times for wall climbing.
Yeah. That
for repeating something in the Fisher Towers. The second ascent of Reticent Wall got on there.
Okay.
And I think the second ascent of Scorched Earth got on there too.
Damn. Yeah, dude, you did some gnarly aid soloing back in the day.
Yeah.
Respect.
Well, I didn't solo.
Respect.
Well, I soloed World's End, but I didn't. Scorched Earth I did with a partner, and I was kind of third fiddle on Reticent Wall, but because I was with Kevin Thaw and Mark Sinop, but yeah, I did some shit. I was psyched on it.
Oh
yeah. This isn't about me though, but
yeah.
But I wanted to ask you about Jordan.
It's always just a little bit.
What about me?
Yeah.
The podcast.
It has to be
Oh yeah,
fuck
bit. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's a whole podcasting thing. But let me ask you this other question that I had in my mind, and then I want to ask you personally about Jordan. Maybe we'll keep it in.
Yeah.
So one of the, I mean, I don't know how to put this, but like this lifestyle that you're describing, you know, is like something that as the people who listen to this, it just sounds like so incredible, and it's a romantic, and you know the dirt bagging and the going around the world traveling. But what about like the famous thing that goes with climbing, which is a cost on your social life? There's a cost on your family life to a certain extent. Have you felt any of that in terms of like being able to have sort of functioning relationships outside of climbing, so to speak, having, you know, a proper relationship with your family who are worried about you? Like, have you felt any sort of effects of that as far as the climbing and dirtbag lifestyle is concerned?
Oh yeah. Like, very significantly. If anyone knows, all my friends like know my parents pretty well, who are close to me, and like my parents they're amazing, but man, I think my mom worries more than just about any mom on the planet, and I feel super bad for her because she worries so much about me.
Not bad enough, but
yeah, not bad enough to change, but yeah, I mean, I grew up like in a very traditional conservative, not politically conservative necessarily, but just like family value wise, pretty conservative background. And yeah, like I was told to like work for a big corporation right out of college and work as much as I can and make money and buy a house and have kids. And yeah, I mean, I still want to do some of those things for sure, but it's been a struggle to deal with my family for sure on that front. And yeah, relationships as well. Like I definitely don't regret any of my time on the road. However, I have come to the point where I'm like, all right, I think it kind of could be cool to settle down a little bit. And I find myself in Truckee now working a full-time job, or like, you know, a relatively flexible full-time job, but still full-time. And I'm pretty happy to be here. Like I still can climb a ton, but it's nice to be a little bit settled. I think I know myself, and I'll crave the travel pretty soon. And I already do. I'm already trying to plan the next expedition, but yeah, I definitely have had to make some pretty significant sacrifices, you know, with this lifestyle, but they are very much worth it in my opinion. And I love the life I've lived and the path I've chosen, and I don't regret any of it.
Yeah, and I have some sense of, again, you just mentioned being like a New York suburban kid, and you know, it comes with all this privilege that, you know, we certainly have to acknowledge, and you know,
no
to
doubt.
have those choices is a significant thing. And it's not like, I mean, maybe you can agree or disagree with this, but it's not like it's necessarily spoken, like, you know, they sit us down and say, this is what we want your life to turn out as. But like everything about your schooling and your, just the whole vibe is like directing you towards this certain thing. And, you know, and you know, it's common knowledge on this podcast that I rebelled against it. And that's how I ended up where I am now, you know, maybe for better or worse, but whatever. But I'm just saying, it's like it wasn't like some, you know, sit down in your father's office where he said, this is what you're going to do. It just is this feeling of this is where you're headed. And
yeah, there's just societal, there's pressure from your parents and like the society, that suburban culture that you grew up in. And yeah, I feel it regularly. I mean, still to this day, when I, you know, chat with old friends who, you know, are like investment bankers in New York City, or, you know, chat with my family, and they have like these certain expectations. Yeah, it's tough. It's like, you know, and when I was on the road, all the time, I'd like feel pressure or challenges. There'd be days where I'd hear from family or friends and be like, when are you coming back to the real world? And I'd be like, well, this is the real world. This is just this is my world. You know, I choose my own path. And yeah, I guess I rebelled against that culture, and I'm happy I chose that path. Right. It's been pretty rad. 36
was when I like got over that shit completely. So you can look forward to it.
I hope, yeah, I hope I get there one day. I almost want to just like, I'm like, okay, I gotta like make a little bit of money and like, you know, like prove I could do it in my own way or something like that. Like just figure out my alternative path. And yeah,
you know, the annoying thing is it sort of kept me from going all in.
Dude, me too. I mean, I would probably, like, I remember there's been a few times where like I was down in Patagonia and I was telling someone like, yeah, I'm going to start working full time. Like I actually was genuinely running out of money, but I was also like both for that reason. And also the reason why I was like kind of interested. I've always liked to build things and have this second passion other than climbing. And I was talking to someone, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you should just double down and climb. Like you're crushing it. Like you should just pursue this thing. And I definitely, I'm for sure my parents.
Yeah, they're sitting on your shoulders. It's like,
yeah. Oh yeah. They're definitely influencing me. Yeah. So, you know, for better or for worse.
Right. Yeah. But they love you.
Yeah, no doubt. They definitely do.
I'm sorry I was born with this perfect bone structure, that my hair looks better done up with gel and mousse than hidden under a stupid hat with a light on it. All I ever wanted to do was make you proud of me, Pop.
With what? Your male modeling? Prancing around in your underwear with your wiener hanging out for everyone to see?